Welcome to Moving Forward, or what I like to call Feeling Fabulous Forever. We hope that you've enjoyed the past 5 days of incredible speakers, immersive classes, and massive learning. But you may be asking yourself, where do I go from here? And the answer is simple. Where do you want to go? You've learned so many new techniques to make you feel better, to improve your self care, and to make you feel fabulous. The next, really, before we go any further, we need to ask you a few simple questions. I just want you to ask yourself because the truth is, if you don't know where you're going, you might end up someplace else. It's kind of like driving a car. You might get into a car without a destination in mind. So you would just drive all day and you might just be driving around in circles because you've never determined where you actually wanted to go. That's a problem. You need to understand where you want to go. That's what keeps you motivated to go in forward and to reaching your goal. So, for example, athletes, they train for the Olympics, right? And they know exactly where they need to go in order to win. They have a goal in mind. And perhaps it's a time that they need to achieve or a weight they need to lift, but their entire focus is on achieving that target. And when you're laser focused, the possibility of achieving that target is incredibly high. And if you have no target to look at, then you really don't know what to focus on, right? You never really know where to aim. So, how do you make what you learned in the last couple of days stick? Well, you need to give yourself a target in order for you to achieve it and be successful. Sounds a little businessy for our self care summit, but here at Forest 17, we want you to succeed. So, we want you to use the exact same strategies that we know work. Because big goals that challenge you, that make you expand, and that are a little scary and maybe a little honestly uncomfortable, they are what truly make the person that you are meant to be become that person. That's what who you will recognize. That could be and that should be what you want for yourself. And it's a simple, basic exercise. You just need to give yourself a target in order for you to achieve it and be successful. So let's get started. I want you to ask yourself these simple questions and answer if this is yes or not. I am going to commit this year to a positive change. Yes. I may be scared to set these goals, but I'm willing to try. Yes. I'm willing to do whatever I have to in order to stick to making this year happen. Yes. And if I take the time to plan my year ahead, my life will actually be easier, freer, and more authentic. Yes. So here we are. Here we go. I am looking for those four big yeses in the questions above. You kind of probably figured out I'm not exactly a 50-50 kind of girl. So you're either all in or you just don't bother. And if you don't want to bother, then get back in the car, drive around the block for the day because you'll be happier telling somebody how much time you put in rather than actually telling someone that you made a decision to get to your destination. The choice is yours, right? I can't do it for you. The choice is yours. So don't waste your time. Say yes to all four and let's get moving. After all, the train is pulling away from the station and you want to be on it. You want to commit to finally implementing those things that will make you feel fabulous forever. So, how are we going to get there? Well, let's talk about SMART goals. I think you've all heard of SMART goals, and these are the qualities that really that make up what we call a goal that is essentially one that you will likely achieve, right? So SMART standing for goals. So let's take a look. They must be specific, and I would say in writing, measurable. They must be able to be achieved. So achievable, meaning you have the ability to actually make it. It is not out of your wheelhouse. They have to be realistic, right? Realistic in at least this universe. So you can't, for example, have a goal that's not realistic. If you want to be 6 feet tall and you're only 5'5" and you're 30 years old, Well, that's not going to happen. It's not a realistic goal. So make sure you understand what's realistic, right? And that there is a date of expiry, that it's timely so that you know you don't have forever to accomplish it. I like to add two more aspects to my goals more than just the SMART goals. Number one, is that it always has to be positive for me. Meaning if I wanted to, for example, look at weight, I would say I want my ideal goal weight to be X, not that I want to lose 20 pounds, right? Because I want it to be positive for me. If you're talking about business, you want to bring in 10 new clients, not that you don't want to lose clients this year. It is much more motivating to have a positive goal ahead of you. And I want you to try to stay focused and positive. We had a great discussions over the past couple of days about what it's like to be negative and why you can't achieve those goals. So I want you to be positively focused and understand that going forward, you have the ability to take what you've learned over the last couple of days from all these talented speakers and make sure you start to implement them. So, this is how we're going to do it. And this is how you're going to actually achieve what we've been teaching you for the last couple of days. So, number one, I want you to write down all the goals that you want to achieve after you watched all those sessions. There were a lot of classes, but please, I just want you to write down the top 10 in rank order because you're not going to be able to do everything, right? The full complement of goals because it's just too many to start with. So, what I want you to do is take your top 10 things that once you've learned, you're like, you know what? If I could move forward on these top things, I would really love it. It could be, yoga or meditation. It could be intuition. It could have been tai chi. It could have been something else that you learned. So what I want you to do is rank them in order of importance for you to achieve, okay? In order of importance. And I want you to write down that top 10 and I want you to write down when you would like to be able to achieve this goal. That's a completion date. And that means that if you say, for example, you want to reach your ideal weight and maintain it, you might have a realistic date of December 31st. Perhaps you realize that it's going to take a whole year. It doesn't matter. What I want you to do is be realistic, right? You might want to say for your business, I want to start posting on social media on a daily basis, consistently within my calendar. Well, first, you have to figure out what social medias are you going to post on? How can you actually do that? Perhaps it might take you like 2 months. And that's great, right? The completion date is vital to make sure you understand if you can achieve those goals or not. So stop right here and write down those goals. In the next section, you're going to get a bonus, and that is our Trello board where you can track all of this. And Stacy's going to walk you through everything. So make sure that for now, just grab a piece of paper and write down your goals in rank order, the top 10. Now, I want you to take another piece of paper or this exact paper that you just used, right? And for every goal, you're going to write what it is you want to do. So on this one, I might say I want to meditate for 20 minutes per day, and the completion date is June 30th or August 31st or September 15th, whatever your date is. So if I, for example, say August 31st, then I want to know that by August 31st, I am meditating for 20 minutes a day. I also need to be realistic and know that there are steps involved to help me get there. So for me, step number one might be to find a teacher to help me through. Step number two might be to go to a class twice a week. And then step number three, before that August 31st deadline, is that I have to schedule it into my calendar on a daily basis in order to get there. So you can allocate time frames just like this. So if you want to do by August 31st, you might say, I need to find a teacher in the next 2 weeks. I need to go to a class twice a week for the next 3 or 4 months. Whatever it is, you need to break it down, your goal, into smaller steps because You need to understand that you have to learn it before you're able to say, I'm committing tomorrow to do everything. That's why a lot of people fall down on this piece, right? They might say, starting tomorrow, I'm going to exercise once a week. It's not that simple. You might say, by the end of the month, I want to exercise once a week or once a day or twice a week. But here's how I'm going to get there. I'm going to try a different exercise routine every day for the next 30 days. I'm going to choose the one I want the best in the next 2 weeks. Week 3, I want to make sure I commit to doing whatever it is, yoga for twice a week and see if it fits. But it's very hard to commit to a goal when you don't really have enough learning to get there. So we've all set, so this is going to happen for each and every goal out of those 10 goals, right? You've lined them all out, you've outlined your steps, and now you need to put them in a place where you can put them in order to achieve them. So I want you to do one more thing. I want you to begin to focus and act like the person that has already achieved that goal. I want you to use your physicality, your mental discipline to actually be there. So for example, if one of your business goals was to become a speaker, then start today. And the next time someone asks you what you do, mention that you're a speaker. What's wrong with that? Some people always start getting nervous and scared, like, oh, I'm not really there. And what if they want to hire me? That's okay. Because if somebody came up to you today and said, what do you do? And you said, I'm a business coach, but I'm also a speaker. They're like, great. What do you speak on? And you give them some topic. They might say, I'd love to talk more. I have a conference coming up in 3 months from now. Perhaps you might be interested. Great. That gives you a date in 3 months so you can figure out what to do. Don't limit yourself because you're not there. It's your goal. You want to be there. So you need to envision what it's like to be the person that's there before you're actually there. I want you to start feeling it, because if your goal is to get there, you want to feel what it's like, so it'll give you more motivation. If your goal is to maintain your ideal weight, then today at lunch, order lunch as if you'd been ordering like that for weeks and you're at your ideal weight. Why wait? Feel like the person that you want to be over the next year in your mind. Feel it and live like that person, so that will help you achieve your goal in the end. So, the goal setting assignment that I already gave you, I gave you 10, right? And that might take a little bit of time to write out. And then the final sheet to get you started down your path is a little easier. So while I asked you for 10, I want you to really now choose only 3 of those 10, because 10 is excessive and 10 is hard to achieve right away. However, I'm going to share with you why I asked you to do 10 in a minute. But I want you to write down at the top of this page and another page, I want you to write 3 of the 10. And then what you want to do is write them down and make sure they are in front of you with an absolute guaranteed completion date and all the steps involved, right? And I want you to write it down so that what you need to feel in order to achieve those, right? We talked about feeling it. So go ahead and say, what would it feel like? What do I need to feel like to achieve those goals? Right? And then I want you to now look at the characteristics and the qualities that might help you feel that way. And then I want you to write down some milestones that you can start doing. So we're going to prioritize these 3, only 3 out of 10. So remember, we picked your top 3. So now for those 3 in the next 24 hours, what can you do to start making it happen after only 1 week? What can you have accomplished in that 1 month, in that 1 quarter, right? I want you to start putting those 3 goals on your desk, on your wall, wherever you will see it, because those are the top 3 things that you want to achieve right away in goals, right? So I want you to move your body and your mind, everything towards you achieving that goal. You're going to have that commitment. You want to make sure that you are going to be fabulous forever. You want to have that feeling. So I think we can all commit to top 3 goals, correct? right? 10, daunting. You might have been at that part in this video where you said 10, I can't do this. But 3, yeah, 3 is manageable. So if I only have 3 goals ahead of me, what does that look like? Does that make sense? I think you must be excited to start because remember, once you know what the destination is, it is so easy to set your GPS and find the best and fastest route in order to get there. And that's what we're doing. We're setting our GPS to achieve your goal. And once you begin to achieve those 3, you can start adding more to the list. That's why we have 10, because once you've achieved one and it's in place, you can take one other one of the 10 and start working on it. Or you can bring in new goals because now you're starting to feel like another person. And now you're thinking about goals. You're like, heck, really, that was so easy. I was aiming way too low. I have to stretch those goals. Have to achieve more because I know how to do it. This is the strategy that will help you get to where you know you want to go, right? So I don't want you to neglect any area of your life. It doesn't mean that, these 3 goals is the only thing you're going to do, but this is what I want you to think about. This is an opportunity for you to take something that you might have been putting off that has made you feel better, that you know will help you, that will help your business, and actually implement it. I gave you a very simple strategy to get it done. The key is just laying out the steps and putting it in your calendar, right? If you have a completion date and you have a date of when you want to achieve things, that's what makes it simple. So, remember, the only way you can reach those goals is to actually schedule them in. And that's what we were working with in terms of completion dates. So I want to leave you with a couple more things to really emphasize ensuring that you can get those goals done. So here's some quick, sneaky little bonus hacks you can learn to make your goals stick. So, what are goal hacks? Because that's probably what you're thinking to yourself. Where essentially they're little shortcuts or strategies that you can implement in order to ensure that you do everything in your power to achieve what you set out to do right now from all the learnings that you learned by going through 5 days to fabulous, right? So, let's go through some of these hacks and see if you can handle those. So, number one, you need to start thinking before you move forward is a simple strategy. If you can't stick to your goals, generally speaking, you're just not using the right tools, right? If you stick with simple strategies, then you can ensure that you are going to be successful in achieving your goals. Because the truth is, study after study has proven that if certain strategies or hacks are implemented, the likelihood of sticking to it quadruples the success rate. And those who don't want to know those hacks or only want to do a couple, well, you're still going to be successful, I am sure, just by using the written little simple steps. But why not really boost your level of success by implementing something that could maybe make it a heck of a lot easier for you? So let's go and let's have a look at goal hack number 1. And it's really simple. We already did it. You need to write it down. When you commit to writing something down, it becomes real. You are physically taking action on your goals and you're making it visible. And therefore, it is real and in your face, no hiding and no forgetting that it's there. It's there in front of you. So go ahead and write it down. Goal hack number 2. Keep score. That's what's tracked and measured are goals that will be able to be achieved. If you have a clear and precise target and you know you're making an impact by keeping score, that's how it works. I remember when my son wanted to play soccer, so I signed him up, and after his first game he wanted to quit. And I was really surprised because I thought he was doing really really well. So I asked him why he wanted to quit, and he looked at me and he said, "Well, mom, they don't keep score and they're not even taking the stats and there's no playoffs. So what's the point?" So if you agree with him or not, you have to admit we all like to keep score and we all like to know what we're doing. So measuring and tracking keep you motivated, because each time you reach a little hurdle in your development of that goal, you give yourself a little, yay, I'm almost there. And that helps. Goal hack number 3, bet on yourself, because sometimes the pain of losing something is more motivational than the pleasure of achieving something. Generally, if we wager on a goal, we don't want to lose. So we're going to try to attain it. My favorite way to implement this is simply to attach a very large cash value to your goal. It sounds kind of silly, but for example, if your goal is to eat healthy and every meal this week you put $100 wager beside each meal. If you choose not to eat healthy, then you have to put $100 in an envelope and mail it out to a charity of your choice. You heard me right. You have to mail it out. And if you make 3 bad choices in one day, well, you're going to have to mail out $300. So, without hesitation, it's going to hurt. So, giving yourself something that you can bet on yourself might help you hurt just a little bit less. Hack number 4 is to really start starting. Yep, it's one of my favorite things ever. It's just to take the first step. It's one of the absolutely best positive ways that you can move forward on a goal, because the idea is to act, because action changes things. So set small steps in the first 24 hours before beginning implementing any of the bigger steps, just so you will start to move forward. The difference between failure and success for much of the time is simply, did you take the action to take the first step? It's really that simple. Baby steps add up. They allow you to sidestep procrastination, and they can shift to turn that big, overwhelming goal into something small and more manageable. Goal hack number 5 is sharing your goal outside to your family or your community. So you're going to get a little bit of added pressure to make it happen. And if you end up, gauging somebody else's take on the same goal, right? If you see somebody else looking forward to the same goal, then you have a common goal, which could make that effort seem much more fun. And that's cool, right? So sometimes when I say community pressure, it just means that if you say it out loud, you'll find someone else out there to help you achieve your goal at the same time they're achieving theirs. Goal hack number 6 is to find a mentor. Find somebody who's an expert at that goal that you want to achieve and hire them to be your mentor or your coach. Anything that can help you win, that can help you down the right path as fast as you can so that you can attain your goal. Mentors, you've seen a lot of them over the last couple of days. They can double, triple, quadruple the time in shortness that it would take you to spend in order to achieve that goal, because they're going to shorten the way, because they know the quickest, easiest ways to get there. They can save you time, effort, money, whatever it takes in the long run. So don't make sure you don't miss this one. A mentor can simply be someone that you, as I said, hire, somebody that you follow, somebody's book you read, right? A mentor is just somebody that knows how to achieve the goal faster than you. Goal hack number 7 is to really visualize the how rather than focus on the goal visualization. So, what we're trying to say is visualize how you're going to achieve that goal, the steps you're going to make, but not the final and the outcome, because by focusing on just the final outcome, you're missing the steps that it will take. And by visualizing the steps, you're going to take your mind off the big goal just for a second, and then you're going to look up and understand that the big goal seems much less harder to achieve because you've taken each and every step along the way. This crazy goal hack number 8 is called I screwed up effect. This is one of my favorites in terms of knowing the knowledge, or knowing that everyone does it at one time or another, because let's face it, it happens all the time. You might have the best intentions, that you're taking actions, you're doing really well, and then you slip up And it could be eating that cheesecake while you're committed to healthy eating, or maybe not doing your cold calls each day when you're in sales. Whatever it is, you screwed up. And you say, well, I blew it now. And then you just quit. But instead, accept you made the mistake and get right back on the track. Because even if you're able to forgive yourself for this mishap, you're more apt to get back on the track quickly. Goal hack number 9 is to know your sunk costs. Sometimes we find ourselves doing all the right things, but no matter what, we're just not gaining any traction. It's just not working because occasionally an external factor may come into play that's totally out of your control, whether it's an industry change or, if you're a retail store, they might have had the town rip up the road in front of you and take all the parking away. Those things are out of your control. So if your goal was to get X amount of clients, that might be something that you can't do. But however, things that are out of control always happen. So we need to understand what our sunk costs are and when we can actually stop and move on to something else because that's out of our control, right? So if we can't achieve the goal because of an external factor, let's revisit and figure it out. Let's do, for example, you want to feel better and you're really interested in bikes and you want to do spin classes and you bought a brand new spin bike and it's working great and you're doing a class online, and then all of a sudden your spin bike breaks. So now what? So your sunk cost, you've already invested in it, but now you can't keep going because you don't have a spin bike. So rather than say, I'm going to take 2 weeks off until it's fixed, figure out an alternative solution because there's nothing you can get back with those sunk costs until it's actually fixed. So figure out another solution. Grab a bike and go outside, borrow a bike, extend your exercise routine to do something differently, but make sure that you continue to move forward on your goal. And then finally, goal hack number 10, the if then plan, following through on the previous hack, that this last hack is really the contingency plan, right? So if you're achieving your goal is out of your hands and you need to stop because of sunk costs, then you should actually have a plan B if that happens, right? So you readjust your goals and you have the actions in place to figure out what you need to do to move forward. So that is what we're going to talk about today on moving forward and feeling fabulous forever. These are really simple strategies that I know you can implement today to get you started. And the best advice I can absolutely give you is go ahead and start writing those goals today. You've enjoyed all the classes and you're excited and you want to move forward on certain things, but here's the truth. Life gets in the way. And if you don't stop and write down what you want to achieve and what goals you want to put through, in a couple of days, you'll forget. You'll forget about how great you felt. You'll forget about how fabulous it was to, stretch and do something different outside of your normal routine. And then life continues the way it was before. And if you don't change anything, you end up getting the same results you always have. So I really, really can't emphasize enough that right now, today, before you move on anything else, do these exercises. We've made it really simple for you by adding this bonus training, which is a Trello board that you can it's a living board. So you can track your goals, you can move your goals, and you'll have a very clear path of where you want to go. So go ahead and watch that training. And then once you're ready to go, do it today. Do it tonight. Don't wait.